Just got off the trail with my first ride with my new Trek. Picked up Trek Roscoe 7. Picked that up this past week. It's a late model, used. Got it through connections. It's hard to get a bike right now, so you got to reach out to all your biking friends and find out. So had a friend of a friend buy a new bike after having bought this last summer and deciding to go full suspension. So just got off, did an hour, it was 6 miles, just some nice a 2-mile loop that I did 3 times. So very leisurely riding, and it felt so leisurely with this. So I wanted my first ride to be by myself, because I didn't know how I'd handle this. It's got different geometry, the tires are huge, different fork, it's bigger, the diameter of the tires is bigger, in addition to the width, and then it's got really wide handlebars, and so I'm looking forward to getting connected to the women's mountain bike community. I've never ridden with women, and excited to find women who can really ride and really shred, and so I'm gonna seek that out. That's a goal of mine. At this point in my life, I've never ridden with a female mountain biker that's better than me, and not to say that they're not out there, because they for sure are. And I did one race, so I haven't really sought it out, but female mountain bikers are not a dime a dozen. We're a pretty rare breed, and I'm looking for the people that can hold their own. Anyway, super excited about it. So I timed it because I wanted to see what would happen compared to my other. So last time I rode this, I sold my bike, 3-4 weeks ago. So I've been selling a bunch of things to create space to be able to get new updated things like this. So I sold my old bike, and then I've been bikeless and haven't been able to ride. Do want to point out that I did have a mask up for most of the ride, even though I've been vaccinated for 4 months. It just sends a message out to people that I care about them, and for those really, really small chances that I could become a carrier. I'm not really going to get sick from it, but really small chances I can be a carrier, because up on the trail people are breathing really hard, and you don't know if they could cough or sneeze kind of right by you. So and it's not that hard. We're getting through this. We're almost there, but we got to still be vigilant with this virus, and we got to be concerned about people not vaccinated, and we got to be concerned about the variants until people get vaccinated. But I'm gonna pop out a different video for you guys that I shot, where and so I'm gonna put out some videos just like female and outdoors. I'm basically just gonna be myself documenting things, and I hope it inspires other women, because I'm not afraid to do bike repair. I have a bike stand. My husband is the one that's worked in the bike shop, but I'm the one with the tools and the bike stand and things. And so I created a video just because I had to do it, so why not document? So I've got a time-lapse video showing me changing out pedals. These handlebars and they're still my impression. I knew they're still too wide, but you can always cut off more. So I cut off 1 inch off each of these. So I show you how to take off the handlebars, how to move the derailleur, brake levers around, and here this bike has a drop seat post. So there's a bunch of things that features about this bike that I'm super excited about. So my first impression, so watch that video for one. Secondly, just some impressions about this bike. I had the same bike for 20 years, so I had that really dialed in. 19 years, I bought it in 2002, so I really had it dialed in. Wasn't sure how I was going to do, if I was going to flop all around on this. I test rode a Trek, 27.5 inch maybe 5 years ago, and it just like didn't even compare to my 26-inch wheels, meaning it was way better. So I'm super excited about all the changes that have happened in the last 20 years. So I'm going to trim these down a little bit further. I think I'm going to even go like a full inch off either side, but I'm going to take a little bit of time just because I'm really used to having, my handlebars were narrower than the old school mountain bikes. So now mountain bike handlebars are really wide. So I want to give it a little time just as like learners and just make sure that I don't jump the gun. Just because I'm used to it doesn't mean that it's better. So my inclination is I want to cut these down. They still feel quite wide for my shoulder. This bike frame is actually a medium, and you can see it's not, oops, ooh, I'm a cross-country rider, so clipless, and cleats on my pedals. So clipless means you actually clip in, right? So I clip in to these pedals with the cleats on my shoes, and I'm going to update these. These cleats have been in my shoes forever. These shoes I've had since 2008 maybe. I think I got them when I got my road bike. But what was I saying? Handlebars feel really wide, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time. I can tell that the wider handlebars make it easier to turn. So a couple things that I felt on the bike is that I handled better in the switchbacks than I did with my small handlebars. So I need to take that to heart and see that maybe my narrowness didn't help me in that technical little bit. What else was I going to say about the narrowness? But it also made me more wobbly, because any movement that I do on the handlebars transitions much more. So it made me, when I'm just trying to ride a straight line, I was just like wobbling around a lot more because of that. So it made initiating turns, really made those hairpin turns much easier. I feel like I actually did better with those than I do historically. Even though it's a new bike, I did better, but I was much more wobbly. These 27.5-inch wheels, the diameter here, I was looking for a 29-inch wheel because that just goes faster. It can be pretty hard for somebody how small I am. But these 27.5-inch wheels, that diameter was great. It was like the smoothest riding, just up and over. I didn't feel slower at all. I just today didn't ride hard because why? It's Saturday morning. It's beautiful. I actually had to take a kind of intense round of corticosteroids for a hearing issue a month ago, 5-6 weeks ago. And I'm trying to let that just get out of my system because those have really kind of gnarly side effects for connective tissue, like tendons and ligaments and things like that. So I've really been trying to not push myself too hard with my athletic pursuits and activity pursuits right now, just to let my body kind of remodel from that, because I know they're going to be a little bit more sensitive. And physicians don't tell you about that. They're really powerful anti-inflammatories. That's why I took it. But anyway, taking it easy, and it just felt like butter. So I know I'm going to be able to push it and go really good. This bike is much heavier than I had before. But it's also just allowing for cushioness. So these are 27.5-inch wheels by 2.8. They're so beefy. So they're not quite a fat tire, which is around 3 inches, but very, very comfy. So this is kind of like they call them, I think, plush plus kind of tires. So they make it more comfortable out there, help you ride over things. The tires, and I'm not sure, I think this is a combo of tires plus the handlebar width and like the difference in the riding. I did feel these tires less steady. So I don't know if it's the grip, but you can see they have a good grip, but I could feel my tires slipped out a couple times, and that's because I think I'm used to riding with more narrow handlebars, and I'm used to turning less with the handlebars turning and more with a lean. And when I went to do that lean, I'm not sure if it's a combination of having the sharper angle with the handlebars, but I could feel several times the tires kind of slip out for me. That being said, a couple things about this first ride so last night, I put on these new wheels. I trimmed this down, and preceding, and I also did this because the guy that I bought this from, the seat was like pointed down like this. It felt like terrible. I don't know what the guy was doing, but it makes sense that he didn't like the bike with these kind of things. But I mean, I don't have a penis, so I don't know what it feels like, but you want it just to be like level, to spread things out. It was very uncomfortable in that perineal area, in the sit bones, because it was so angled down, and you want it to spread out the pressure, not have it focalized at once. So I did that, and maybe I can create a video, because this is a different mechanism for adjusting this than I had experienced. So I haven't done anything for fit. I didn't change the fore and aft position of the saddle. I just corrected for that down angle and made it fairly level just by eyeballing it. So those are the things I changed. A few things I didn't do, and I meant to, but I didn't, was these pedals are adjustable, okay, on the tension, and that's how easy it is to get in and out. And new bike, and I'm getting used to it, and even in my old bike, I so I ride clipped in, but that means your feet can end up staying on the pedal. That's part of, the bike moves with you if you jump around, move around. But it also means that there's situations where you try to get your foot off to step off, you fall, and it stays clipped in. So I want it to be as loose as possible so that when I intend to take my foot off, it comes off. But there's an Allen key to do that. You need a little wrench. And yeah, I forgot that. So I was like, oh shit, hopefully it's not too tight, and hopefully it's not, because where I rode up on the hillside here, it's a narrow single track and just kind of drops off, and it's not really technical, it's just like narrow, so some people wouldn't be comfortable with it, but it could be that kind of riding could have significant consequences for not being able to clip out really well. That if you just meet somebody and because that's where the clipped in happens. It's usually not really high rates of speeds. It's where you're just you're slowing down. You need to put your foot down. You can't quite get it out. But I had no issues with the tension. I got these pedals used from a friend, which is nice because they're a higher. They have a bigger platform. They're a nicer pedal than I would have otherwise got. Those run for, I guess, about 130 new, and I would have looked for the pedals that I had previously on my bike are about $50 new, and they're essentially the same thing, but just don't have this. It would just be this silver metal part and not this big platform. So this helps me even if I don't manage to not get clipped in quick. I can still have my foot on the pedal. So that I will tweak in and dial in the tension to make it feel good. The other thing that I didn't change was I didn't change the tire pressure. And so they're actually pretty dense. It's my first time having tubeless tires, meaning the tire's just glued to the rim. There's no inner tube in there. And they're supposed to then handle much lower tire pressure, so you can get the tire to flatten out more. If you do that, a really low tire with a tube tire, the inner tube will pinch in there, and then if you're flattening out and turning and pressing on that side, you call what's called a pinch flat. Well, the tire will flatten out and it'll catch the inner tube, and then it'll rip it as you kind of ride over it because the wheel is spinning, and so it gets that pinch and it'll tear it, and then you have a flat tire. So these I can ride much lower tire pressure. I didn't. So I think that's a big part of why I was slipping out as well. But I got excited to ride. I didn't bring my toolkit. I didn't bring my bike. I didn't even bring, all this is really carrying is water and my key to get my car. I didn't bring Allen keys or anything, or the tire pressure CO2 canister. So don't follow that, like bring it with me, but I wasn't going to be far away. I was never going to be further than like a mile from my car because the loop is really great here. Other things, yeah, so I got the dropper seat post. I can talk to you more about that, but there's a remote up there I push that basically causes the seat to go down. The riding is not really technical here, like I said. You want to do that sometimes if you're really descending, going fast, and having that lower that it's not, but you want the seat up high for efficiency when you're climbing and your pedal stroke. And so I'm super excited about this technology because basically on my old mountain bike I used to just have the seat a little bit lower so it crossed both over. So I wasn't as efficient when I was climbing, and then it wasn't quite as low as it could be for when I'm descending. So super excited to be able to change that and need to get that into my repertoire. I need to get bike water bottle holders that'll allow me to ride. Like a day like today, I probably wouldn't have brought this bag if I had had water bottle holders. The other thing that's, I think this is the final thing that I'll talk about that's interesting about this bike is you'll notice just the one chain ring in the front. The bike that I had forever was 3 chain rings in the front, 8 gears in the back, and my gearing probably stopped like at this size here in old technology. So the bigger these rings are back here on our hub, the easier it is, the gearing is. It kind of works like a pulley. So I have 1 in the front, 12 in the back. It gives me everything I need with these jumps. So these are granny gears, great for the climbing, these big ones. And then when I'm going fast, I'm going to be in these really small ones, kind of descending. So really loved my new ride here, and hope to just create more videos like this. It's my goal to help to encourage you, to partner with you to live your healthiest life. So love to hear about what you're doing to do that in any way I can help you. Take care, friends.